here in Orlando, Florida, in the LULAC National Convention, and online through our cameras, and that's why we're doing this wonderfully webinar with you and online across the country. This is the first in a series of workshops that we're doing with Latinos in college. My name is Mariela Dabbah, and I'm the founder and CEO of this organization called Latinos in College. We're doing this series of webinars in partnership with UNESCO and sponsored with McDonald's. So we're very grateful for McDonald's sponsorship of this series. And we're going to be talking today about what it means to go to college, what it takes, and we're going to be talking with a family who supported their kid through this wonderful process. So the first thing that I want to share with you is that I know that a lot of you are the first in your family, or one of the first in your family, to want to go to college or to have that college dream. And I think that's a fantastic dream to have, and that many times what happens is that once you start finding out all the different steps that it entails to go to college, you might get a little discouraged and you might say, you know what, that's not for me. It's too hard. It's going to take a lot of effort, or I'm going to need to get money and go and get a job and work. And you might decide, I'm going to just decide that that's not for me, that's not my dream, I'm going to let it go and go get a job. And that's actually the worst decision that you can make, because in the long term, it's much harder to be in this world and in this global economy without a degree than it is to put your time and your effort right now to prepare yourself to go to college. So the first thing that we're here to do today is to tell you, yes, you can go to college. College is possible. To plant those words in your mind so that you start believing them and you start sharing them with other people out there. Because words are very important, and we're here today to give you that takeaway. Words matter. And what you do to support those words also matter. So the actions behind the words also matter. So when you plant certain words in your mind that are positive and are just gearing towards college, then you need to follow that with specific actions that are going to get you there. And those actions are going to lead to certain results. So if you plant the right words, you're going to get the right results. And that's what we're going to be talking about here today. And the reason that we selected this conversation is because the people we're inviting to stage have a lot to say about words and actions that lead to college. So I'd like to invite to the stage Luis Duran, who's the award winner of the Ronald McDonald's House Charities HACER $100,000 scholarship. So let's give him a round of applause. And his parents are here with him, Maria and Luis Sr., so I'd like for all of you to join me on the stage. So welcome. How do you feel being celebrities, national celebrities? I know you've been doing the national rounds for a while and media and the whole thing, but how do you feel to be here and to be sharing with our audience online across the country your story?
I feel very honored. We feel very honored, and it's definitely an honor to talk and to inform a lot of these students on how to go to college and how to get financial aid to do
¿Cómo
so.
se sienten de estar aquí con una audiencia nacional que los está mirando?
Muy privilegiados de ver tanto joven entusiasmado en querer seguir adelante sus estudios académicos.
Very privileged, very honored to see all these students really wanting and motivated to go to college.
Wonderful. So as we go, just to give you a little bit of the logistics, I'm going to ask the questions in English and in Spanish when we ask to Luis and Maria, the parents of Luis Duran, and he's going to be translating his parents' answers. So the first question is going to be to you, Luis. What words did your mom say to you while you were growing up that instilled this idea, this dream that you could go to college?
Definitely my mom really inspired me. I'm sure like most students here, she would tell me, I see a lawyer, I see a doctor, I see an engineer in my son. And since I was really little, she really bestowed those words on me.
How? How did she say them?
Just saying, well, I'll speak a little Spanish. Decía, ahí va mi arquitecto guapo, ahí va mi ingeniero, ahí va mi doctor. And those words really stuck to me, and that just gave me a mindset, you know, I'm gonna go to college, and I want to be that doctor, I want to be that lawyer.
Good. And what about your dad? What actions, specific actions did he take that let you focus on your education so that you could just be minding your education? What did he do? I
remember when I was in high school and I was doing calculus homework really late at night. And as most of you know, maybe if you're taking a calculus course, it's hard, and I would be up at 2 in the morning, you know, doing all these algorithms. And I remember my dad would come and he would make me a coffee, like coffee with a lot of sugar, just to stay up. And I know he wouldn't help me with the material because maybe he didn't understand it, but just having him there, make me that coffee, give me a little piece of bread, you know, it really showed me that he was there for me. He really wanted, he motivated me and he inspired me, and I just knew he was with me throughout all of that.
So just like small little actions.
Small little actions, yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna turn to your mom. Maria, I know that you own a small recycling business and that you work very hard, but that you came to this country with a dream to give a better opportunity to your kids. So what did you do? How do you manage your time while they were kids to support their education, to show your support for education? So, María, yo sé que usted vino del Salvador y que tienen un pequeño negocio de reciclaje y que trabajan duro para proveer para sus hijos. ¿Cómo hicieron, cómo hizo usted para tener tiempo para enfocarse en apoyar la educación de sus hijos?
Pues agarré tiempo para ir a la escuela, a estar pendiente con los maestros, con los consejeros. Yo le decía a la maestra desde que él era muy pequeño, mi otra hija, que estudiaron aquí.
She got very involved in school. She got really involved with my teachers, and she just got really interactive with all the teachers and the counselors in the school.
Es muy importante involucrarse con sus maestros, con sus consejeros y decirle, yo le decía, maestra, ¿cómo va mi hijo? Las calificaciones cada mes, estaba pendiente.
She would get really involved. She was really persistent, and she got really involved in how my grades were going along, in my attendance, if I was going to school, and just really in all the academics.
Si necesita, le decía a alguien, yo estaba siempre a la orden, llámeme para venir a ayudarles. Les ayudaba a cuidar a los niños.
She was always willing to help to help the teacher. She would tell them, call me if you need a volunteer, call me if you need help.
Y íbamos al zoológico, yo las apoyaba a las maestras, siempre estaba allí apoyando a mi hijo, y mi hijo quizás sentía adentro de él que su mamá ahí estaba.
She would go to, like most of you are familiar to the zoo, like different field trips. She was always a volunteer, and that made me feel really supported by her.
So she was always attending the events at the school, and she was always trying to dedicate some of her time at least to volunteer in the classroom, which are very important things to do. Many times when your parents, and some of you who are parents here, you're really like bogged down and working several jobs a day, and it's hard to take the time off. But even if you can volunteer once a week with a teacher, that's something good to do because it sends the message that you care. Definitely. So at what point did you, Luis, decide, okay, fine, this is my mom's dream, but now it's my dream. I'm going to go to college. At what point did you decide you were going to go to college?
Definitely my sophomore year in high school. I just really saw all the opportunities, all the financial opportunities, because I knew my parents weren't going to be able to afford a college tuition, let alone 2 college tuitions, my sister and me. But I just really got informed of FAFSA and different government grants, and that's what really motivated me and said, you know what, I can find the financial means to afford a college education.
Okay, and now you decided. So how did you align those words with specific actions? What specifically did you do to become college ready?
I focused on 3 things: academics, community service, and leadership. Academics, just keeping my GPA up. One of the things I did was I took honors courses. As many of you know, honors courses are worth more than regular courses. Sometimes an A or a B in an honors course is like an A in a regular course. So definitely look into honors courses to really bump up your GPA. Leadership, I was president of 3 clubs in my school. I was vice president of National Honor Society, and I was in sports as well, football, tennis, wrestling. And I definitely got really involved. That looks really good on college applications and resumes. And lastly but not least, community service. Get involved if you can in your National Honor Society club, because in my school, and I'm sure it's the same in other schools, it's mandatory every semester for you to have 50 hours of community service. And that's really important, and that just gives you some perspective and what you're really doing and how you're helping out your community.
And I'm seeing that online, 75% of the people who are watching us are in college. So if you want to share some of your experiences and your questions from the college perspective, please share them and we will communicate them with, to Luis and his family. And also that 40% of you are involved already in extracurricular activities and in sports. How many of you people here, because a lot of the students here are in college, how many of you were involved in extracurricular activities when you were in high school? Ooh, everybody, that's why you're leaders. Because almost the entire room went up and said, I'm involved. Okay, awesome. And I see that a lot of you are involved now that you're in college with clubs, correct? Yes? Give me a yes? Yes. Awesome. How many clubs average? Raise your hands and show me a sign. How many clubs? 5, 4, 3. Oh my God, those who just raised one finger, they need to go back and say, okay, what else am I going to get involved with, right? So I think one of the questions that we got previous to this webinar from all the postings and tweets that have gone out promoting the webinar has been, what did you do to stand out and get a scholarship that's $100,000? Don't you guys would like to know that? Right? Because a lot of you won scholarships. How many of you got scholarships? A lot of you, right? Has anybody gotten a scholarship that's $100,000 or more? No? Right? So we want to know, what did you do that's different? What gave you the edge?
Definitely I focused on community service. I had a little over 500 community service hours, and Ronald McDonald House Charities HACER scholarship program really focuses on that because that's what they're all about, giving back to the community. Preparing professionals to go out there and change our community. We need to go out there and change the community, and that's what they saw in me, that I really wanted to go out there, get a degree, be a professional, and help my community. And definitely, I definitely emphasize that, community service.
Well, because I think that the Ronald McDonald House Charities and a lot of other scholarships are very competitive. So a lot of the people who apply already have great academics and already have a great school profile. So what's going to make you different is, what do you do besides the academics? How do you show that you care, that you want to pass it on to the next generation? And a lot of the people who are funding these scholarships are also interested in seeing leaders in the making. And that's why that you show that you've invested time in volunteering and in the community is so important for those scholarships. Now we're going to go back to, we're going to start with, I haven't asked you anything yet, to Luis Sr., your dad. You're a business owner. So how did you plan, because I'm sure as a business owner, you had a plan to pay for his education and your daughter's education. How did you plan on paying if he didn't get any scholarships? ¿Cómo planificó como dueño de negocio? Supongo que usted tenía un plan financiero para pagar la universidad de Luis y de su hermana. ¿Cómo pensaba pagarla?
Pues realmente se me hizo un poquito difícil porque el plan que tenía económicamente no cubría los gastos de mis hijos. Cuando hice números de mi hija y de mi hijo para cubrir los gastos universitarios se me hicieron muy altos.
Financially, there was not really a plan because tuition is really expensive, and just regular wage that my dad got wasn't going to cover those tuitions.
Pero yo lo motivé y me motivé a mí mismo para ver de alguna manera cómo él podía, por medio de préstamos, por medio de ayuda financiera, que él buscara la manera de cómo él poder seguir sus estudios. Y invito a los padres.
But he motivated me and himself to find a way, either with student loans, grants, just some way to finance my education.
E invito a los padres que no pierdan ese ánimo, que se impulsen a sus hijos, que sí hay maneras de cómo ayudarlos con las becas, con préstamos, buscar la manera, informarse por medio del internet. Ahora hay tanta información para los padres que pueden ellos agarrar sus préstamos para poder seguir adelante, estudiar y no decir no, no se puede, porque sí se puede.
And he invites all the parents to just really get motivated and really get informed that there are ways to finance your kids, your students' education. Get on the internet, there's different websites, and just really always know that there are means of financial aid out there for your students.
And for the students online, everybody, 100% said that the biggest obstacle that they find to go to college is the financing part. So what about you guys? Do you think that the money was the #1 obstacle the hurdle that you had to overcome? Yes. See? Okay, that was unanimous. All right, it's like a Supreme Court decision. It's unanimous. All right, so we'll be digging more into that, I guess. You wanted to say something else? ¿Quería decir algo más?
Sí, que pues no nos demos por vencidos porque aquí tenemos una muestra, un ejemplo que mi hijo con sus esfuerzos ha logrado. Ya casi tiene un año para graduarse de arquitecto y nosotros como hispanos, como padres, nos sentimos privilegiados y cada uno de ustedes que están aquí presentes tienen ese potencial y lo pueden lograr.
That don't lose hope that there are ways that you will be able to finance your students' education. That every single student here has the same potential as me. I'm a good example, but each and every one of you have the same potential as I do.
Okay, and the other thing that I'm going to end with, I'm going to ask, the final question to the parents because I'd like to engage our audience. Your story is a real inspiration. I mean, you came here from El Salvador, you work hard, you try to support your 2 kids, and you still find the time to, support their education. What's the secret how you do it? Because the other thing that I haven't shared with the audience yet is that these parents don't just have Luis with the RMHC $100,000 scholarship. Their daughter, who's a couple of years older than Luis, is Gates Millennial Scholars. So she got her entire education paid for by the Gates Foundation. And now she's doing her master's, and half of her master's is being paid by the Gates Foundation as well. So they are kind of the ideal parents. So we want to know what is it that they did and what recommendations they have for other parents out there. So lo que quiero preguntarles para terminar nuestra parte y que ustedes puedan empezar a hacer preguntas a los padres es, han venido a El Salvador, trabajan duro, tienen un negocio pequeño, trataron siempre de proveer para sus 2 hijos y lo que ustedes todavía no he compartido es que tienen una hija mayor que Luis que ha recibido la Gates Millennial Scholar, es una Gates Millennial Scholar, ha recibido la beca de la Fundación Gates que le paga toda la universidad y que ahora le está pagando la mitad de su maestría también. Entonces, son como padres ideales para preguntarles qué es lo que han hecho, que han conseguido que a sus 2 hijos les patrocinen la educación completa.
Pues realmente invertir tiempo. A cada padre le recomiendo que invierta tiempo en cada uno de ustedes, en cada uno de sus hijos, porque ese es el secreto, esa es la llave para abrir el futuro de cada uno de los hijos, porque nosotros lo que hicimos con nuestros hijos.
Definitely invest time in your students, invest time in their life, in their academic life, because that's what they did in my life, and these were the results.
So, una de las cosas que yo quiero como sumarizar de lo que dice él es invertir tiempo quiere decir, I'm sorry, I'm turning it into English. I want to summarize a little bit what he said, and investing time means that you need to align those priorities. If you say education is a priority, you came to this country in search of better opportunities for your children, that means you need to take some time and show that support. Be present, be in school, be with the teachers, share a cup of coffee, do those things that actually show that you support the kids. It's not just the words, right? Okay. ¿Y qué más?
Pues y ese es el secreto para nosotros, invertir ese tiempo, dedicándole, como dice usted, a ponerle su café, llevarle, estar pendiente de sus movimientos. Yo siempre estaba pendiente de cómo él se movía en sus clases.
Definitely, the secret is investing time, just really being active in their academic life, seeing how they're going in school, academically, and extracurricularly as well, just being really active and present in their life.
Okay, y María, ¿qué nos quiere? What do you have to add? ¿Qué nos puede agregar?
Pues yo le quiero decir a las madres, principalmente porque nosotros somos a veces las que estamos más pendientes de nuestros hijos. Madre, desde que está este niño pequeñito, llévalo y siempre dile, aquí llevo mi arquitecto, aquí llevo mi abogado, aquí llevo mi doctor, porque eso es lo que va a hacer tu hijo.
To all the mothers out there, because mothers are usually a little bit more involved in their students' academic life, just really say, son, daughter, you know, you're gonna make it, you're gonna be a professional, there goes my lawyer, there goes my doctor, there goes my architect, and just really declaring it onto them.
And one thing that I want to add, because I know this family, and I'm gonna ask them to share a little anecdote with you, is perseverance is like one of the best traits that you can have. And Luis is a very good example of that because he got turned down, and he spoke last night at the awards, right? He got turned down by how many scholarships?
Well, at least 10 scholarships.
At least 10 scholarships. And his dad will tell you the story. He used to see him at his computer applying to all the scholarships and scratching his head because it was another turn down, another scholarship that got turned down. And he kept on encouraging him. So why don't you briefly tell us what happened the night that he got turned down for the RMHC HACER $2,500 scholarship? ¿Por qué no nos cuenta qué ocurrió cuando usted lo vio a él que estaba frente a la computadora y que no iba a ir al evento porque le habían negado la beca de $2,500 de RMHC HACER?
Sí, o cuando yo pasaba de mi cuarto hacia el baño y veía su cuarto abierto y estaba él en la computadora.
When he would leave his room to go to the restroom, he would see me, in my room on my computer.
Y como uno de padre, aunque no crean ninguno de los que estamos aquí, todos sus hijos, uno está pendiente de cada movimiento de sus hijos.
Like every parent here, everyone's really focused and really just knowing what their kids' movements and where they're, what they're doing or what they're not doing.
Y cuando yo lo veía en la computer y estaba desesperado, se agarraba la cabeza y yo lo veía desesperado y decía, mi hijo tiene algún problema.
And when he would see me on the computer, scratching my head, pulling my hairs, what's going on, he said, there's something up with my son.
Pero él no me comunicaba que no le habían aprobado ni una beca.
But I wouldn't communicate that, I wasn't getting scholarships. I was getting denied after denial after denial.
Por eso es bueno comunicación con los padres e hijos, porque en una mañana tuve que pararlo y preguntarle.
And that's definitely really, really important, communication with your students, because one of the days he actually needed to talk to me and really find out what was going on with me.
Y le pregunté esa mañana, hijo, ¿qué está pasando? Porque miro que estás desesperado, ¿qué pasa contigo?
And he said, son, what's going on? I see you're struggling. What's going on?
Y me dice el papá, es que no sé por qué razón, tengo los buenos grados, tengo buenas calificaciones, le he preguntado a mis consejeros, me dicen que no entienden por qué no me han dado ni una beca, ni de 2,500.
And I would tell him, what's going on? I have a high GPA, I have over 500 hours of community service, some leaders in all these clubs in school, what's going on? How could I get turned down a $2,500 RMCH HACER scholarship?
Keep your thoughts. The hashtag for online is Rumbo al College. Everybody who's tweeting or Facebooking, Rumbo al College is our hashtag. Continue.
Pero cuando él me dijo, pa, tengo que ir a representar, a apoyar a los muchachos que van a recibir su beca de 2,500, me dijo él, quiero que me des permiso para ir. Le digo, está bien, vete. Y se fue con su otra hermana.
There was an award ceremony going on at the baseball field at in Phoenix, Arizona, honoring the $2,500 recipients of the scholarship. But at that time, I was a finalist for the national scholarship, so I was asked to go to the ceremony in honor of being a finalist.
Y luego yo le dije, ok, hijo, vete y ve a apoyar a tus amiguitos que sacaron su beca. Pero él es un poquito triste porque no había recibido ninguna información de su beca, ni tampoco nosotros.
And he told me, go ahead, son, go support those students, your peers that have gotten the scholarship. But I was a little, bummed. I was a little, sad because, I hadn't heard anything, and knowing that I didn't get the scholarship that I was going to the ceremony.
So he was going to the ceremony, just so that we're all clear, thinking he didn't get the $2,500 scholarship he applied for, and he's going to support his friends who applied and got the scholarship, right? So he goes to the baseball field. Continue, please.
Y la sorpresa más grande de nosotros fue que cuando ellos se presentaron en un partido muy grande en ese estadio, no recuerdo los apellidos de los equipos, lo estaban esperando él exclusivamente con las cámaras y el cheque de $100,000.
So I didn't know, my parents didn't know that when I was over there, it was a Diamondbacks game versus Texas Rangers game that, they were honoring all the recipients of the local $2,500 scholarship, but they were exclusively waiting for me to receive the $100,000 scholarship live on TV in front of thousands of people. And it was definitely, thank you. it was definitely caught me by surprise. I didn't know to run around the field, jump, crying, do backflips. I don't know, but definitely in that moment, I knew that my dreams of becoming an architect and going to school and becoming that professional that my mom always wanted me to become, I was one step closer to it.
And it was fabulous. He was there with his sister, who buddied up with him and said, I'll go with you. His parents didn't even know, and he was going for a lost cause. And so they weren't there, but they've been with him all along, all the rest of the interviews he's done on TV and here with us today. So to Luis, we got a question from our online community. Is it hard to see your kids go away from home to college, and how do you cope with that? ¿Es difícil ver a sus hijos que se van de la casa para ir a la universidad? ¿Y cómo hacen para enfrentarse con esa situación?
Es muy difícil, pero también tenemos que entender que ellos tienen que tener su vida y tener que salir adelante. Y cuando el mío que se iba a ir por la universidad a vivir ahí, se me hizo difícil, pero aún así lo apoyamos, nos fuimos con él y...
¿Y qué es lo que hacían para sentirse un poquito más cerca? What did you do to feel a little bit closer?
Lo visitábamos todas las noches, se le llevábamos con algún pretexto algo de comer.
¿Todas las noches? It was like not going away.
Por teléfono.
Definitely, you know, it was really hard, the transition from me moving out of home to college. But definitely to kind of, you know, soften the blow of me leaving home. You know, they would come, you know, they would come with some excuse, you know, I forgot this, or I forgot a notebook, or bring me some sort of, you know, home-cooked meal. You know, you can't pass up a home-cooked meal.
Okay, pero I'm going to be the devil's advocate here. Your kids, on the one hand, they're going to college, and it's hard and it's heartbreaking for everybody, for the kids and for the parents. But at the same time, kids are trying to gain their independence, and I'm going to gain the vote of the kids here. So you want to let them go a little bit, for all those parents who are watching us. You want to establish this new connection with them where you are still very much involved in giving them the support, but you are allowing them some space to grow and make some of their decisions, right? O sea, es un momento en donde uno quiere mantener la misma relación que tenía con los hijos y darles apoyo, y al mismo tiempo crear un poco de espacio para que puedan tomar sus propias decisiones, porque están creciendo. So we kind of want to make, you know, this clear. Another question from online: what should I do if my parents don't support my decision of going to college and instead want me to work full time? Luis, let's see if you can tackle that one. I'll tackle it after you.
Definitely, the answer I have for you is support your children, your students, to go to college. Work is good until a certain age, until a certain time, because nowadays an education is minimum. It's what you need. If you guys look at applications, it asks for a college, at least an associate's or bachelor's, some work experience, but definitely support your kid and your student and motivate them to go to college. Not to work full time, maybe a part-time job, maybe on campus, but the most important thing is to get their education, because with that, the doors of opportunities are countless, definitely.
Yeah, and maybe sharing with your parents a number that people who have a college degree, over their career time, they will make between $1 million and $1.5 million more than people who don't have a college degree. So that's a hardcore number for you to share with your parents in order to get their support, and to explain that you will be much more able to support them and help them if you are a professional and you have a college degree than if you don't. So I want to open it to the questions to the audience, because I've been getting the questions online, but I know that people here in the audience have questions. And if you want to also share some of your thoughts or of your experiences or what you've done that was really successful, who wants to go first? Go ahead. Use your microphone, please.
My name is Juan. Juan Campos. I'm from Oklahoma. I'm a senior at Putnam City West. And my question, they already asked it online. It was what should I do if my parents don't support my decision to going to college and want me to work full time?
Okay. And the idea is to try to discuss with them if there are other options for the family to figure out their finances without you as a student having to work full time. So many times that's kind of the first response, because parents may come from their own countries where the kids used to work to support the family and become part of the family household income. And here they're not seeing that there's a direct correlation between your education and the amount of money you're going to make in your future. So it's a question of trying to get them to understand that maybe there's a different way of dealing with the finances. Maybe you can bring together and live with your grandparents and share the cost. Maybe you could figure out a way in which somebody can get a second job, or you can work online to support some of the, to make up for a little bit for the difference of income that's happening. But definitely try to stress that your best bet is to get an education. Do you want to say something?
No.
Okay. Do we have another question in the audience?
I do.
Give us a second. We'll go here and then we'll pass the microphone on to you. Go ahead.
My name is Roxanne. I come from Boston, Massachusetts, and I'm entering my second year of college at La Universidad del Este in Puerto Rico. My question is, what kind of scholarships are available?
Okay. There are all kinds of different scholarships available out there. There are some that are based on merit, which means how well you've done, and you'll go into that in a minute. We have scholarships that are given out by companies that are looking for students to take specific majors. So for example, there are a lot of scholarships in what are called the STEM areas, science, technology, engineering, and math, because everybody's interested in getting more students to go into those areas. And then there are scholarships given locally by businesses in the local area. You have scholarships for all kinds of things, for what religion you are from. There's a scholarship, like a weird scholarship, one of the weirdest I heard, at a college where it was given by a person with that condition, and that's what usually happens. This person had one eye, one color, another eye in a different color. So she gives scholarships to people with that condition. So it's like, whatever you can think of, there's a scholarship out there for you. And what you want to add to that?
Yeah, definitely. Another weird one is they have scholarships for even people with red hair. So
I would get one.
You would definitely qualify for that one. There's millions and millions of dollars out there waiting to be taken. It's a huge pool of money just waiting for you students out there. There's, like you said, there's weird ones. There's ones that are specific for architects, lawyers, doctors. There's one from hospitals, from non-profit organizations, locally, nationally. There's scholarships that focus on financial need, but there are also scholarships that focus on just academics. Maybe some students, their parents do have the means to pay for them, but they want to get their own scholarship. Well, those are the academic ones. But if if your parents or you can't afford the college tuition, definitely go for the ones that focus and encourage financial need.
And the other thing that I want to tell you is that looking for scholarships is a year-round sport, and it's also a 4-year sport. It's not just what you do when you are a senior in high school. It's something that you need to continue doing throughout each one of your years in college. Why? Because there are a lot of scholarships for the first year that then when you finish the first year, you realize, oh my God, I don't have any more money for my second year. What am I going to do? And you start dropping out. So the idea is that you get used to separating certain amount of hours a week to look for scholarships and to apply. And those of you who've already applied and gotten some, you know that you can tweak and reuse some of those essays. And it's not like starting from scratch with every scholarship. And by far, it beats the amount of time, that you invest in getting your scholarships. The return on investment is much higher than if you go out there and work for $10 an hour. And because you say, I don't have time to look for scholarships, I'm going to go and get a job. And that's a $10 an hour job. Because you can sit down, spend 10 hours, which is $100, looking for scholarships and get $1,000 or $1,500. And the other good advice in terms of scholarships is apply to all those scholarships that he got denied. Because even though you will get denied to a certain percentage, the people tend to go for the big scholarships. So the competition for the big scholarships is even bigger and larger. So if you go for a lot of the $500, $1,000 scholarships, you might get 10 or 20 of those, right? Again, making it a year-round sport. You have a question here.
Yes, my name is Lourdes Perez. Today I'm representing Latina Lista, which is a wonderful blog about education and everything about Hispanics. I'm a journalist writing for the blog Hispaneduca, coming up in August. My question is, first a comment. I think it's important to do everything that you have said about finding a scholarship, but the issue doesn't start, you know, when you start looking for a scholarship. I mean, scholarships are given basically by merit, which is academic merit, or need-based. But I have worked with ACT, the college testing company, and I can tell you that most of those people who deny you is because they take a look very seriously at your academic achievement. Okay, I mean, there are tons of, like Mariela said, tons of scholarship opportunities, but you have to do good at high school, okay? It's not taking only elective courses just to get a good GPA, because that doesn't work. Believe me, that doesn't work. You take the right courses, the college prep courses, and if you do well, you will attend college. I mean, that's the guarantee that you will get to college. But my question is the following. In a recent Education Week publication, it says that some of the lowest achieving Latinos are those who attend U.S. schools for 7 or more years without ever meeting criteria to be considered fluent in English. Okay, what's going on from your perspective? Your name is Luis, right?
Yes.
Luis. So what is your perspective? I mean, you being a Hispanic from native Hispanic parents, I know that we all, you know, face students who are in your same situation and still can't make it. I know that your parents supported you all the way, and that's, I think, the most important thing. But what if your parents do not support you, are moonlighting because, you know, they need to work a lot. They maybe have 2 o 3 trabajos en lugar de uno, and they don't have time to support you. Do you have you know, an advice for those students that still they can make it?
Yeah, definitely. You know, sometimes, like you said, your parents are really busy. So what you need to do is you need to find a mentor. You need to maybe get together with a couple of students, you know, especially in a big group. You know, sometimes people have workout buddies, you know, you get motivated to go work out, you know, you won't do it by yourself, but if you have 2 or 3 friends, you'll definitely, you know, you'll go to the gym. But definitely get a mentor. I had my school counselor. I didn't have him at the beginning, but I switched to him because he was really good with scholarships. He was on top of things. He would email me scholarships. You know, sometimes my parents, you know, they couldn't go out there and find scholarships for me, but you guys, each and every one of you have a counselor in school. You know, you have that counselor that's really good with scholarships and financial aid. Go to them, ask them questions. You know, they love questions. There's no dumb question. There's no questions that they can't answer, and if they don't have the answer, they'll find it for you. And like I said, look for, you know, a group of kids that's really inspired and that really goes to college, because, you know, you know, there's this old saying that says, tell me who your friends are and I'll tell you who you are. And, you know, get together with those kids who are really inspired to go to college, and, you know, their vibe, their positive vibe will transmit into you. So definitely mentors, you know, look for them, ask them questions, tell them what scholarships can I apply for, and then get with a group of kids that are really motivated and inspired to go to college, because that positive energy will go to you, and the likelihood of you getting a scholarship and them getting a scholarship are much higher, you know, getting into those groups.
And I'm going to add to that, which I think is absolutely great advice, that you need to start hanging out, and now that you're in college too, because you're going to be looking for internship opportunities and for, you know, what's happening after you graduate from college, right? So you need to build a network from the time you are in high school or younger, and that network needs to be a diverse network. You need to have, as part of your network, people who come from families that have generations of people going to college. So most of the time, those people don't look like us. Those people are people who have been in this either Latinos who have been in this country for generations, or non-Latinos who have been in this country for generations and have already achieved, have the college attainment in their pockets, so that they can guide you. They can tell you, you got to take this advanced course with me. You have to participate in extracurricular activities. You have to really keep a challenging course load, so that you learn what are those steps that you need to take to go to college. So that's part of what you want to do while you are in high school. We've had a couple of questions online that they've run through. I want to mention one that came from one of our people who are viewing online, which is, if you don't belong to clubs and you don't do any extracurricular activities, can you still get scholarships?
Definitely. There's still scholarships that, like you previously said, that are based on academic merit and are based only on what your grades are, your GPA. But the likelihood of you getting other scholarships, getting into sports, getting into extracurricular activities, are really going to help you. And that's why I encourage you to get really involved. And not only is it going to help you get scholarships, but it's going to help you get involved in your community as well. But definitely there are scholarships that are just merit, academic merit-wise, but I definitely encourage you to get involved.
And that's not only for scholarships, but because the college admissions officers are going to look at who you are, and they're going to say, oh, this person has done anything but just sit in the school and study, so they're not a well-rounded person. They're looking for people who are interested in doing other things, in showing their passion, in being involved. And I also encourage you to understand something. A lot of you are a very important part of the support of your family in terms of taking care of siblings, taking care of elderly, maybe holding a job. That is part of your extracurricular activity experience as well. So even though we are definitely encouraging you to participate in clubs and extracurriculars and etc., when the time comes to write your college essay, you want to weave in that kind of experience, because it makes you a very solid candidate. It makes you a very mature person. The fact that you were responsible for preparing dinner every night for 3 siblings, making sure they did their homework, teaching them math. I mean, that's part of who you are. That's part of your unique story that you have to tell. We have another question from Ana Rojas from Parents Step Ahead, who's watching us online, who's asking us, if somebody is doing their GED, what kind of scholarships can they get? So there are scholarships out there for everybody, and a lot of their scholarships are not limited to age. So everybody needs to be searching for scholarships with certain keywords that reflect who they are and what stage of the game they are in. And if you are doing a GED and you're doing it at a community college, you need to approach your financial aid office there and ask them for what opportunities they have for you. Any other questions from the audience? Yes, we have one up here.
Hi, my name is Betsy Tovar. I'll be attending my 2nd year of community college at Richland in Dallas, Texas. My question is, who do I go to, or where can I find a mentor that can help me throughout my education?
Thank you. So you mentioned mentors.
Yeah, mentors in college, I mean, tons of mentors, tons of mentors. Some can even be your own professors, because they're not limited to, just teaching a certain class. Sometimes they have research or they have free time. Definitely go to their office hours. And the good thing about college is that you don't see them as teachers anymore. You're adults when you go to college, and you can build relationships with them. You can build networking relationships with them. You don't have to see them as adults, and you can't talk to them after certain hours. You're adults now, and you can make relationships with your professors. Definitely go to your either down to your office registration or academic support. I know my school has a place where they have tutors, and some of those tutors are graduate students. And you can use graduate students as well. Some of them are even professors. They teach lower undergrad teaching assistants. And those are definitely really good mentors for you, because they've been through that. They've been through their 4 years and their 2 years, and they can definitely know how, where to go, where not to go, what to do. Definitely those are really good mentors, are those grad students.
And I'm going to add, first of all, we have LatinosInCollege.com is the website. I'm the founder and CEO of LatinosInCollege.com. And that's a community, an online community we built. specifically for this, to connect you with mentors, to connect you with people who are in colleges across the country, who no matter where you want to go, you'll have somebody to tell you, yes, this is how that campus feels. This is the kind of courses that you can take, etc. And you have all kinds of resources that will guide you right there on the website. But I also wanted to add, whether you're in high school or you're in college, like a lot of you here in the audience, in terms of mentors, don't only count on your professors and your guidance counselors, because they tend to be overwhelmed. Mostly the guidance counselors in schools, because you have one guidance counselor per 500 students. So how do you go outside of that to find a mentor, like you were asking? I think you need to start tapping into professionals in your world. Could be your doctor, your dentist, your lawyer, if you have a lawyer, your banker, if you go to your local branch and you have your bank manager and you can establish a relationship with that person. You can start joining professional organizations or organizations like LULAC, where you have your LULAC youth councils, but then you guys interact, and I saw Sandra yesterday gave her award, and interacting with the president and interacting with all the elderly represented. I'm not calling them old, I'm saying the elders, like, the people who are our mentors. So you have that connection when you join these professional organizations. There are, the Association of Latino Professionals in Finance and Accounting, ALFA. You have the National Society of Hispanic MBAs. You have the engineering organization. You have the Hispanic nurses. You have all sorts of organizations that are there looking to mentor you. So tap into those sources as a way of finding out, what courses do I need to take? This is the specialty that I want to, this is the major that I want to do. Or what kind of activities can I do that are free? I got one of the questions we got from online was, extracurriculars are expensive. What can we do that doesn't cost a lot of money? So, I want to tie that in with what's your answer to that. Y a los padres también, ¿qué tipo de actividades extracurriculares hacían sus hijos que no costaban mucho dinero? What kind of activities did your kids do that were not very costly?
Ellos hacían fútbol americano, tenis, que era parte de la escuela, y fútbol, tenis, y también estuvieron en karate.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely extracurricular activities, and sometimes the equipment, the sports equipment, is expensive, and maybe that's something that's an obstacle. But definitely get into clubs. Clubs don't ask for money. The clubs don't ask for equipment. Clubs don't ask. On the contrary, they help you raise money for the clubs, and there are a lot of clubs out there. I'm sure you guys, I heard some of you raise your hand. You're in 5, you're in 3, you're in 2. And those are definitely some extracurricular activities that you could get involved in that aren't too costly and are definitely going to help you out to apply for college and in your personal life as well. And
I'm going to throw one out there. Girl Scouts and Boy Scouts are great extracurricular leadership building activities that you can do that really do not cost that much money. Who in the audience has a club that you want to share, or an extracurricular you did that did not cost that much money? Yes, go ahead.
The Interact Club is part of the Rotary Club of Dallas and Rotary International. It's all free, and it's all based under the Rotary, so we go out and do community service and fundraise for some projects that we do year-round.
Fabulous. So under the Rotary Club. Wonderful. Who else did something interesting? Go ahead.
Theater classes also
Use your mic. Well, you have it, so.
Theater classes also help out a lot. We did a lot of those shows that would help raise money for any cause at school, so it helps and benefits school and education.
Fabulous. And the advantage of theater is that it prepares you for job interviews, and it prepares you for public speaking. And a lot of people who are, I don't know if you know this, but the #1 fear in this country is public speaking. Over death, I think. So it's like death by public speaking. It's got to be the worst. So I'm saying that, look at the people that we have up here today. It takes a lot of courage to stand in front of a crowd and talk. So if you do theater as your extracurricular, it will build your confidence and help you for the college interview, and then later on for your career interview. So that's a great, a wonderful activity to do. Anybody else has a great club? Go ahead. And speak loudly, because if you don't have the mic, they can't hear you.
I did mock trial for about a year or 2, and it was really great. It was very impressive on my resume when I submitted it to colleges. especially when you pass, the district level and you go on to state and national. It's just a great experience. You're more articulate when you speak, depending on the coach you have. And it's just a really good experience, and you get more familiar with laws and stuff.
Absolutely, mock trials, and that also prepares you for public speaking, for policy, for politics, for office, for all kinds of different things. Anybody else did something interesting? Go ahead.
Also, another good club is Lions Club.
Lions Club?
They help volunteering, community service.
You have the mic right next to you.
Yes, the International Lions Club.
Okay.
All around the world. When you put that on your resume, and if you have a position, or it really shows and that you help with the community. So.
Absolutely. So you see, go ahead. You have another one.
Another good one is debate club, because that helps you a lot with writing essays for scholarships to organize your thoughts.
And that's one of the bigger problems that Latino kids have. Many Latino youth does not have enough experience writing essays before it comes time to write essays for college applications. And that's a disadvantage. So debate club is a wonderful way, like what's your name?
Nikki.
Like Nikki was saying, to get your thoughts organized and be prepared for when the time comes to write essays for scholarship applications or your school application. Anybody else has questions for our panel? Do we have any more questions? And I know I skipped some of the questions, kept on coming, and I didn't respond. Anybody else has any more questions?
I do.
Where? Who's speaking? Go ahead.
Hi, my name is Christina. I'm from Dallas, Texas. Well, I just graduated, and now I'm going on to Baylor University. Yeah, I applied for lots of scholarships, and I got my stuff paid for. But, well, most of it, at least, for the next 2 years. But how do I start applying for other scholarships? Because I know that there's definitely a lot of scholarships available out there for graduating seniors, but what happens when you enter your undergraduate years or when you get into your master's or your doctoral degrees? How do you cope with that without having to go completely broke?
Okay. Do you want to take that?
Definitely, there are opportunities and scholarships given to undergraduate students. There's also this thing at my school called work study, where you can actually work on campus either with registration, with financial aid, or you could be the safety escorts, people in the little cars, or people giving tours of the university. So definitely there are opportunities, there are scholarships. Definitely always financial aid. Definitely look into where your scholarship office is at, and look for scholarships for undergrad students. Maybe there's also for graduate students, there's research opportunities where you can get paid your whole master's while working with either a doctor or a biochemist or whatnot, whoever is in charge of that. And definitely you could get your master's, even your doctorate degree paid.
There are a lot of money for doctorate degrees in specific areas, and there's money for master's degrees in some areas. There's less money for grad school than there is for undergrad school. There is no denying about that. But what Luis was saying is true. It depends on if you want to go into research and you can position yourself as a research assistant and do a project. Also, organizations like the Gates Foundation have some money for certain careers that you're following for your master's. So it's a question of knowing where to look. My biggest thing is if you don't know what you don't know, that's when you're in trouble. But if you know that there are areas that you don't know, you can go look for help. So you obviously know, Christina, that there are areas where you need help. And so that's going to help you find the right people to point you in the right direction. So you need to know what words to Google or to look for your scholarships, and include obviously your expertise, include the area, like you're in Texas, because there are some things that are very local, some things that are more national. Look under the different professional organizations of the area where you want to study to see if they have something, and pester, and I'm saying pester your financial aid office. The squeaky wheel is the one that gets oiled. I know a lot of students who have gotten financial aid, and that's in terms of subsidies and not loans, in terms of subsidies and grants, because they were at their financial aid office every day saying, you have to help me, you have to help me, you have to help me. And eventually they find something for that person. Whereas if you just let it go, you're going to have to either get loans or come up with a different solution. We had a question over this. Yeah, go ahead.
The Latinos
College is the On Track to College initiative, and it's available to where is it a web-based initiative, or how can we get?
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for that question. We did not plant it. Okay, the overall series is called Latinos Rumbo al College, right? And today's webinar is On the Track to College. We're going to have, and we're going to wrap this up, and I'm going to invite you to our next webinar, which is September 5th, and it's Acing Scholarship Applications. And this little card that you got, and we're going to post this online so people know what are the follow-up webinars. This little card has all the different dates and the webinar names so that you can join us. So what we're going to do right now is, that's all the time we have for questions. I'm going to ask you to give a round of applause to this fantastic family. And I'm going to ask you to scooch this way. So we're going to just wrap up. I'm going to thank all of you for coming here and for sharing your questions and your thoughts. And I know that you're going to have a lot more. So please visit, like the Facebook page of Latinos in College. It's Latinos in College /Facebook. You can post your questions there, and we can continue the conversation there. And what we're going to do now is we're just going to recap what we saw so that you have very clear takeaways. So number one, words matter. So be careful with the words and the conversations that you have with your children if you're parents, and make sure to express your expectations of a college degree from the time they are young. They're very, like Maria was doing, like, ahí viene mi hijo el doctor, right? And if you're a student, be very careful with the words that you say to yourself and to others so that you're not sabotaging that idea that you're going to college, right? So don't say, sí, yo voy a ir a la universidad, I'm going to go to college, I'm going to be a college grad, and have all that aspiration, and then say, yeah, you know, but college is very hard, I don't know if I can do it, I have to help my parents. So don't, because those words matter, right? So also, the next takeaway, actions matter. Small and big actions can show your kids that education is a priority. Bringing that cup of coffee when your child is studying. Being there present at one of the school events, you know, attending one of the football games. So from bringing a snack when they have a long night of study ahead to attending school events whenever possible. And if you are a student, your requirements matter, and that's the actions that matter to you. It matters to study hard. It matters to find that mentor. It matters to figure out what are the websites that are going to help you, right? And at the same time, let's go to the next slide. The requirements matter if you're a student. So there are certain requirements that you need to fulfill to be ready for college admission. And those, make sure to learn what they are so that you can complete them in a timely manner. They include the number of volunteer hours, the number of credits you need to have, the attendance, right, so that you can't be absent in class, standardized tests, etc. Money matters, right? There are a lot of options. So it's an important consideration, but there are plenty of options. So the idea is to learn what they are and find one that matches your situation, because there's definitely a good college out there for you that's a good match. So most of all, we want you to take away that college is possible, that you have already everything that it takes to make it happen, and we're here to help you and support you with the tools and the resources and the connections to help you get through it, to get to college and to graduate. So please follow us on Latinos in College without the final E on Twitter. Lenesc, that's LNESC. Me Encanta, those are our Twitter handles. And you have our websites on the left, latinosinccollege.com, lulac.org, and meencanta.com. And thank you very much for being here. Do not miss our next webinar, September 5th, and to learn more about acing scholarships. Thank you.